The Breakdown, POLI-TRICKS, with Mercer Prescott and his band of eclectic cronies, telling you what you need to know regarding politics, breaking it down. POLI-TRICKS. Are you registered to vote? If not, please vote now. Whether you're independent, Democratic, or Republican, now is the time for vote. Early voting starts soon. Vote now. Get registered. A vote makes the difference.
And welcome to another episode of POLI-TRICKS with Mercer Prescott and his eclectic band of cronies. No, it seemed like I said that wrong. All right, Mark, do what you do.
All right. All right. We're going to, I got a lot on my plate today, so we're going to get through this as much as we can. So, but I want to start with something that really shouldn't be making me laugh, and it makes me laugh anyway. I watched a Noxie get punched in his face today. I know it's like nothing new, but there was a video I saw today of a Noxie in Seattle. Of all places you could be a Noxie, in Seattle, one of the bluest cities in the United States. So this guy,
like the most hippiest place in the United States, besides California, but the grunge movement. Seems like everybody get along with everybody because everybody's strung out on heroin, but that's neither here nor there.
But this dude was walking around on public transportation, no less, and he had his Noxie gear on. He had his jacket with the Noxie armband, and he was just walking around just harassing people. And he harassed the wrong person because some black guy, this dude was like a head taller than him, right? Caught up with him afterwards. So supposedly they tracked him on social media, and I'd seen like Instagram clips of this guy sitting on the bus with his Noxie gear on, and there was a video of they caught up to him, right? And the video I saw was only 15 seconds long, but the last thing you hear the guy say before he gets knocked out was, yeah, and they deserve to be on welfare. And then the guy just clocks him, knocks him out in one shot, and he's just on the ground unconscious. And he just walks off.
I wish I had welfare benefits. I need some Medicaid and some food stamps right about now, to be honest with you. Gee whiz.
I'll tell you right now, I ain't too proud to cash some checks, man. But I'm in that donut hole. I make too much money to be on welfare, but not enough money to pay my bills.
I mean, I'm right there with you. Just had to switch insurance. $682 for what? I still got to meet like a $5,000, what do they call it, deductible. I still gotta, my co-pays ain't about nothing, 20 here, 30 there, 50 there, depending on what it is. This costs that. I was like, damn, I have a recognized disability that I probably could get on disability for. Just don't want to do that route. Want to be able to work as long as I can work.
Right.
And Medicaid, I mean, if nothing else, Medicaid. I mean, I can't get some of my stuff. I can't get my knee replaced like I want to because out of pocket is going to cost me, even with my insurance, the offset is going to be like $180,000. $180,000? That is a freaking house because it's a total knee replacement. That's a freaking house, you know what I'm saying?
You can get a bionic knee for $100,000.
One of the heart valves is going bad. That's going to be about $45,000 to $75,000 for that. And it's not even a major incision thing because they said the total price, the anesthesia and all that stuff is like $90. So, you know, I pay like $50. They pay $50, I pay $50. This is Blue Cross Blue Shield. This is Blue Cross Blue Shield now. I digress, man. Go ahead and take you about. All I know is that, like, damn, I have a lot of clients that's on Medicaid. They be getting all kind of procedures. America, the one thing I don't like about Medicaid is they don't want to fix your teeth. They rather take them out and give you dentures. That's the only thing I don't like about it.
Oh, man, I got a few teeth missing, man, and that's their whole thing. They're just like, oh, got a little brown on that one. Yeah, just yank it out. They just love that, you know, and I got crazy alien teeth, so my teeth are just running all over the place. And they my wisdom teeth are sideways, so they actually had to just remove a tooth. They had to do surgery because it was running under the wisdom tooth.
Yep, exactly. I had the same problem here. They said if we leave it, even if it's causing you pain or not causing you pain, if it goes bad, it's going to rot your whole such and such. And I was like, well, if you got to take it, you got to take it. Man, they messed me up so bad. I got this thing called dry socket. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, the most painful thing ever. They gave me pain medication, but everybody know I'm an addict, and that was the wrong thing for you to do.
Yeah, I've never had dry socket, but I've heard the story. I have friends who had wisdom teeth pulled, and I've heard the stories. They'd probably rather go to North Korea and get tortured than to get dry socket again.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, that thing wasn't nothing to play with. Then I was underway on a submarine for 6 months, so couldn't really attend to it like I needed to. Anyways, I digress. America. So that Nazi got his ass stomped. We call that whooping motherfuckers via 1996 666 Mafia.
and I will say this. I don't condone the Nazi getting knocked out because while he was harassing people and people on Instagram was taking pictures of him and he was like, you know, verbally abusing people, he hadn't physically touched anybody, right?
But did he use the N-word? That's what I want to know.
That I don't know. I don't have any video or audio of him using the N-word, but he was being horrible to people.
Because when you use the N-word, that's an automatically punch to your mouth, to your teeth.
And that's the thing.
That's the rule.
I don't know. Like I said, that clip was only 15 seconds long, so I don't know what he said right before he said what he said.
I'm so tight with the N-word, I don't even like Puerto Ricans saying it, and they swear they can say it.
Cypress Hill used to use that word all the time, man, and I was just like, okay, I guess.
I mean, they get it too. Don't say that shit around me, cuz. Why you hit me in my mouth? Because you are not black. You're not our experience. Man, I'm just like you. We grew up in the same hood. That ain't got shit to do with nothing.
Yeah, man.
But that's just me. If you ain't black, well, I don't want to hear it, period. If you're black, I give you a pass. Nobody else gets a pass. Fuck that. And fuck that Nazi. He probably did say the N-word. That's the only thing that can rile up a black person enough to punch you in your toothlesses and have it broadcast on video. You know he's going to get some jail time for that. Why? Because he's black.
And that's my only thing. I don't want him to go to jail, so I don't want him to just start punching Nazis at will. But I'm not going to lie if I didn't say that I didn't watch that video 20 times during my lunch break. I just kept rewinding the part where you get punched over and over again. Because what would make you get up and dress like a Nazi and walk the streets and harass people? What kind of dumb shit is that? You know? So, but speaking of Nazis, there was another shooting at Georgia Tech, and I'm going to say this, right? The name of the person who got shot was named Scout Schultz. Now, I don't know if you want to call. They're basically they identify as intersex and non-binary, right? So they don't like to be referred to as he or she, as them and they. So if I say he or she during this part, it's not out of any sort of disrespect. It's just that my inexperience with dealing with this sort of thing.
Nah. If they was born a boy and they got a wee-wee, they're a he. And if they were born a girl and they got a wah-wah, they're a girl. I hate all this. You can't define me by he or she. I'm a they or them. I just can't get with that. Why do I have to change my vernacular to fit your spectacular? Come on, man. This ain't Dracula.
I'm going to tell you this. I read that CNN article like 3 times because I kept saying they and them, and I was like, okay, like at least with something like Bradley Manning, who's now Chelsea Manning. He prefers to be called as a woman. So I can get with that. I'm like, fine, you're Chelsea Manning now, you're a woman. But the whole they and them thing, I'm not knocking it, but it just throws me off because I keep saying he or she, and I know they're probably getting mad at me. So, like I said,
and why do I have to think about what I'm calling you when I'm looking at you and thinking you're this or that or that or this
right.
or that, this or that? There's the black sheep. There's the black sheep. There was a woman.
But unfortunately, Scout Schultz is no longer with us. They were murdered. I don't want to come right out with the murder thing, but if you saw the video or the stills, it's practically murder, right? Unfortunately, Scout was 21 years old. He's a fourth-year engineering student at Georgia Tech, right? A student. And involved with the LGBTQ, if I got all the letters right, was like a leader of that movement at the school. And there was a lot of pressure, and Scout had a lot of mental issues, had already attempted suicide. Basically, Scout was having a mental breakdown. So the initial report said that Scout had a knife and a gun. But in the end, Scout just had a knife, and it was like one of those flip knives, they call it, or utility knife. My dad used to carry one when he used to work construction. So if you need to cut a bundle or something like that, pull out a little flip knife, right, and just cut it. I mean, it could still hurt you, but it's not like a Bowie knife or anything like that. So basically, the cop, they were confronted by the cops. You could see that Scout had his hands down, but he's had the knife. The cops were repeatedly telling Scout, drop the knife. And Scout told the cops, shoot me. So Scout started toward the cop with his hands down, just walking toward the cop. And the cop shot Scout. I think Scout was still like 20 feet away when they got shot, and one of the bullets hit Scout in the heart and died at the hospital, right? Now, my thing is this, sometimes my inner voice talks like a 1970s blaxploitation character, and I'm reading the article, and my inner voice is like, say, brother, don't these job circuit cops carry tasers anymore? And I was like, I don't know. And in the article, it said that their campus police on Georgia Tech they don't carry tasers. And I'm like, why the fuck don't you carry tasers? You're at a college campus. It's not like you're on Rikers Island. It's not like you're in the South Sudan. Where's your taser? This was a person who
that while we still teaching these cops to shoot center mass. That is stupid to me. You got a leg, you got an arm. I was in the military. I wasn't the best shooter, but I could definitely shoot an appendage.
Right. And it's not like in the video. It's not like Scout ran at him with the knife raised, ready to stab him in the heart. He just started walking toward him, and the cop just shot him. And I was just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. These cops are a bunch of... Now, here's my thing, right? I don't want cops to start going hand-to-hand with people with knives just because they have the training to do so. But that's why they should give... And especially their campus police. Why doesn't campus police have tasers? You zap them, get Scout the help that they need, and they're good, right? They live another day to deal with their issues.
All right, there's a bigger picture here, Merc. Bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Scout, whatever his name is, Scout asked them to kill him. He wanted to die.
Right.
Scout was suicidal, and that's we jump into what the cops did and what the cops didn't do or what the cops should have did. The bigger picture is the high suicide rate here in America that, though the numbers are unconfirmed because they only tally them after about 2 or 3 years. I think the last numbers coming in at 2015. But anyway, that's not the point. Off record, off tally, they're saying that suicide rate or attempted suicide rate is higher now than it has been in 10 years. Now, I don't want to say it has anything to do with number 45's administration, but I will.
It's basically like tossing a drowning man an anchor, you know, to have 45 as president, because everything.
We're gonna zero off of 45 for 1 second. This world has so many. Hold on, this car just thinks it wants to rev its engine by me while I'm walking down the street. Hold on. This world has so many intricacies in it. This world is so different from 10 years ago, from 20 years ago, from 30 years ago. People that have to deal with the issues of this time. Let's think about the young people. Let's think about when you were 20 years old. Mm-hmm. That was what, I ain't going to say how long ago it was. I'm sure you don't mind saying it, but that's the point. Look how different the stressors of that world you were in at 20 than the world that these kids are in at 20. And they're not prepared for it. Shit, the 40 and 50-year-olds, their mamas and their daddies ain't prepared for it. Of course, a 20-year-old who isn't even fully mature yet, because men aren't there until approximately 25, and I'm thinking 28, 29, 30 in most cases, just don't have the emotional stability to deal with this. And regardless if he's a he, she, thee, they, or them, he still ain't what he's supposed to be. He got to deal. When you were 20, you didn't have to worry about the intricacies of coming out or being out or being the stigma. It was just known. You just don't come out. You know what I'm saying?
and the thing is, you know, not being able to come out is, I think to me, it's crippling. You know, to not just to be able to just be who you are with other people. I
remember some gay guys at my school. They was flamboyant as. Now the ones that was closeted, I think they really suffered. The ones that was just free nilly yay, now they were living. They living life. You know what I'm saying? They get too fucked. Yeah, and they had all the girls. Sometimes I contemplated being their friends so I could get with the girls. You know what I'm saying?
and I think they're just more free because, I mean, especially around the women, because they're not really trying to impress them, so they just be themselves. They don't have to pretend to be someone else in order to get girls. That's just my theory. I don't know anything about that. So, but I do see that sometimes, and I'm just like, that guy can't be really gay. Why is he surrounded by 6 women? I don't know. But, you know, my thing is
spending the night at their house and shit and cuddling up and doing each other nails and get the what, really? Well, shit, I'm gay too then. Fuck it. Oh, we gonna sleep in the same bed together? Cool. Ooh, Rico. But I ain't say Rico. I know my other name. Nino, why you what's that you poking me with? That's my stick. That's my night guard. You stupid. I digress. I had to take medicine today. Go ahead, Mark. As you were saying, but that's the point I'm trying to make. Is like the boy, the person, the they, the them, as he wanted to define himself, they wanted to define themselves as. The bigger picture is the suicide. You're looking at the cops, but the cops didn't make the policy. The school made the policy of no tasers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know why, because, you know, I think there was something similar at Virginia Tech, wasn't there? Where they probably could have just tased somebody and then they just shot him. I have to look that up because one of my friends mentioned Virginia Tech, and I vaguely remember something about that, but I don't remember exactly what. But he was saying that they don't use tasers there either, and I'm like, you're not in the South Sudan. You don't have to kill everything you see. You know, this is obviously a person who was who needed help, and then the cops just you know shot to kill, shot him in the heart. You don't really.
It might have been a clear picture. It might have been a bigger picture. He might have been tired of that lifestyle. He might have been stuck. He might have been tired of being ostracized by his friends and family. And this world, this Trump administration, I think is making it harder for these days and them than ever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Even for us. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You got kids on the bus with their swastikas on their arms yelling at people. Now, granted, they get knocked out.
You know, I'm nice with their hands, but I put their hands away for a long time ago. But There's two things you can't do to me. You can't say the nigga in my presence if you're not black, and even if you're black, we still might have a conversation. But you definitely, and you can't spit on me. And they're known for doing both. I don't, it's not even something I intend to do. I don't constantly think I'm punching them in their mouth. It just happens.
Right. That wasn't your plan when you walked out the door, huh? So.
It's almost like a blackout thing, like, oops, I didn't mean to do that, my bad. Even a light-skinned nigga, I feel funny about them saying it, because I feel like you ain't all the way black, dude. You get a pass from them, you know what I'm saying? Obama couldn't come around me talking about nigga. I can't do it.
I know Odie would have something to say different to say about that, but speaking of that sort of thing,
well, she ain't on the show, so she don't get that privilege.
She about to dial in right now. Watch. No. But put it like this, right? When you talk about and I hate to lump them all in the same basket, right? But talking about like the right wingers, right? When you mention about intricacies, right? They have no nuance. It's just basically this or that. It's either black or white. There's no gray when it comes to them. There's no nuance. Going back to the whole thing with Jamil Hill, right? Every conservative site that I saw was saying, hey, how come they gave Jamil Hill a pass, but they suspended Linda Cohn and they fired Kurt Schilling? Here's the thing, right? There is a huge difference in what they said, right? Put it like this. Jamil Hill, right? And I know I'm probably pronouncing her name wrong. I apologize. I mean no disrespect. Her tweet said, Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. This was said on her Twitter account, right? On her own person. Now, she said it on ESPN's Twitter feed. That's a different matter altogether. But she said that on her own Twitter account. That speech is protected by the First Amendment. Now, like I said before, it may break some code of conduct, but it's still protected by the First Amendment. So I know, like I said, I'm expecting ESPN to fold like a lawn chair because of pressure from the president. But
right. But I feel like this. Look, I've seen somebody do it recently. I can't remember who. But look at all the stuff he said about Obama. And while Obama was president, why didn't he hold himself to the same standards he's trying to hold her to? Didn't he say that Obama wasn't an American, or Obama was a Muslim, or Obama was, I don't remember all the stuff he said, but he said a lot of stuff that basically was untrue. So why you mad? He straight up called
Obama a racist. There was a tweet where he calls Obama a racist.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that right there. So she calling you on the same shit. And what you mad at her for? Yeah, and she did with that. I heard blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, but yeah, you could have done it. You still do it at times, aiming at Hillary, who's not even a politician right now. Come on, man. Why they do that at, dude?
All Hillary is right now is a failed author. Ain't nobody buying that book. What happened? It's like basically buying a mystery book.
I think she's a phenomenal fiction writer. I read some excerpts from that book. Marvelous fiction.
Basically, buying a book from Hillary's name that's called What Happened is like buying a mystery book in the first page. The Butler did it. Oh, okay, I'm going to read this.
Nobody said anything about buying it. That's why we got library cards.
Now, that's what Jamil Hill said, right? So, here's the thing. Linda Cohn, she's been on ESPN forever, right? She's like 55 years old. She's been there since she was like in her 30s, maybe even younger, right? She's been there forever. Now, this is a little weird, right? She was asked, I think she was on a radio show, and she was asked whether ESPN had lost viewers because of politics, right? So here's what she said. She said, "You're right. That is definitely a percentage of it. I don't know how big a percentage, but if anyone wants to ignore that fact, they're blind. That's what I meant about the core group that made ESPN so successful." Right? Now, Linda Cohn was never officially suspended. Okay? They told her, take a day off. Right? Now, I had a day off last week, and you know what happens on my day off? I still get paid. So she was never officially suspended. When you get suspended, unless you're a cop, of course. Unless you're a cop, when you get suspended, you don't get paid. She was never officially suspended. They just told her to take a day off, right? And the reason why ESPN was a little bit upset, because she's talking especially about ESPN, right? So it's technically two different things. Because Jemele Hill wasn't talking about ESPN. She just happened to work for ESPN while she was ragging on the president. Linda Cohn was talking directly about ESPN. And that's what raised their hackles, and they gave her a day off, you know. But like I said, she was never
raised her shackles? Yeah, that's some real slave shit right there.
I said hackles with an H.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not a native English speaker. You know that.
That's okay. Now, with Curt Schilling, when they compare it to Curt Schilling, I'm like, yeah, y'all smoking dust. Because Curt Schilling has always been a racist, and he called Jemele Hill a racist, and I joked about it earlier. I said, Curt Schilling calling Jemele Hill a racist is like Donald Trump calling somebody a bad businessman. It's like him saying, hey, why don't you sell steaks in the Sharper Image? That's a good idea. Hey, we're going to make Trump the board game. That's a great idea. People will buy it. They love it. You know, put it like this. Curt Schilling was suspended, an actual suspension, after comparing Muslims to Nazis. And in 2016, he shared a Facebook post that addressed transgender people using bathrooms. And it was like some horrible, ugly meme that he posted. So ESPN released a statement. They said ESPN is an inclusive company. Curt Schilling has been advised that his conduct was unacceptable, and his employment with ESPN has been terminated. So it wasn't even like his first offense. You know, he's been a racist for a long time. And they finally had enough of it, and they let him go. So it's not even close, but they just have no nuance. They don't read shit. They just figured, oh, he got suspended and she didn't get suspended. No, read a goddamn
Do you think that we might be viewed as being racist?
Oh, absolutely we are. But we're usually viewed as being racist by people who are already racist. it's like what's his name said? David Cross. He's like, you know, you're being intolerant of my intolerance, and that makes you a bigot. That's basically what they are. Whenever someone like Curt Schilling calls somebody a racist, it's because he can't stand to look at himself in the mirror and say that. So he has to call someone else a racist. So absolutely, there are people who think that we're racist, you know, just because we're speaking about racism, not because we're actually prejudiced against other people, but we're bringing up something that makes them uncomfortable.
My grandmother's Caucasian, so how could I even be racist when she basically raised me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, I must admit that my grandfather who married her was hung by Klansmen in the 60s based on that marriage, but that's another story.
Oh. Yeah, man, I did not know that. So... But
you will hear it all in my new book called From Crip to Counselor.
But it's the whole thing with right-wingers. There's no nuance, and then they all have websites. Like if you just look up something right-wing, there's like 80 websites, and it's all just like, you know, PeaPartyPatriot.com or, you know, flagupmyass.net and all this other bullshit. And they basically don't even write the stuff themselves. They just copy it from other websites and just change stuff.
In my coochie.com.
And they just basically just change the stuff just enough to make it seem like they actually wrote it. But it's all the same, you know, because they just copy off each other because they don't read. They want to be webmasters and they don't read. What the hell is that about? You know? And like people who don't read are people like Rick Perry. You know, he's our former Texas governor and energy secretary. I don't know anything about economics. You know, I haven't taken an economics class in like 20 years. But I do know this. You don't create demand for something by just making a whole bunch of it. You have to find out what people want and then supply their demand, for lack of a better term. So Rick Perry's whole thing was, hey, if we he's talking to coal miners, and he's like, look, if we just, pull out bunches of coal from the ground, people will buy it. No, because the same coal you were getting for, I'm making up numbers here, for $500 a ton is now $45 a ton. So now it's basically costing you more to pull it out of the ground than what you'll get for it. Basic economics, man. And they don't realize that it's the consumers who drive demand, not the companies themselves. The companies have to make what the consumers want. That's the basics. I'm not dropping any science. That's probably in the first page of your economics textbook. Put it like this. China is on the bandwagon now. And Blue, I owe you an apology, because you were 100% right. China is the #1 polluter in the world. America was the #1 polluter in the world. It's now China. They are #1, right? So you figure China came out the other day and they said that they are going to ban all non-electric cars. Now, they haven't given a timeline, but they're already working on the infrastructure that will, all across China, they're going to have charging stations for electric cars. Right? You figure England and Germany, no, I'm sorry, England and France have already said that by 2040, all gas cars will be illegal. Or I should say, any car that runs exclusively on gas will be illegal by the year 2040 in England and France. Right? Now you figure with China, it's a huge thing, because 1/3 of foreign cars are bought by the Chinese, because the Chinese just aren't that good at making combustion engine cars, but they are pretty decent at making batteries for electric cars. So it's a huge advantage on their part, right? Not just for economic reasons, but for environmental reasons. Because like you said, they're the #1 polluters in the world. Their air is so thick, if it's in their way, they can just push it out of the way. Their cities are orange. Literally just an orange haze in the bigger cities because of pollution. So this move is a big thing. But now what happens is that all these car companies, all the global car companies, now they have to realize, hey, if the Chinese are, who buy 1/3 of these cars, are going electric, we have to follow suit and go electric, or else we're going to lose 1/3 of our customers.
And that's just smart money. Plus, it's environmental friendly. Plus, my next car, I'm looking to buy a hybrid. So yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. I mean,
the only problem I have with electric cars is I only know like 2 spots in Durham where to get their electricity.
And that's
Duke
a big
campus
problem.
And somewhere on MLK, and that's an issue for me. You got to leave it parked for like 4 hours. You got to leave it there parked for like 4 hours for it to get charged. If it's not near my house, what am I going to do? What am I going to do for 4 hours? I have to see myself at Duke for 4 hours, but not at the MLK one, which is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. And I don't mean to cut you off, but that app I was telling you about, the Smart News, it just an update just popped up. Hurricane Maria is now a Category 5 storm, and it's about to hit Puerto Rico. So I don't know where it's going to go after Puerto Rico, but I just had to call my father today because the other storm, Jose, is about to hit the Northeast. So yeah, it's hurricane season is going to be rough, man, for the next decade and a half until we do something about this climate change. And it is funny
until we die and all the country is underwater. I mean, we're going to have to work on getting our Gillian technology down packed, where we can breathe, get the oxygen extracted from the water, which I've seen the technology has been implemented. I just don't know why they haven't really done anything with it, but maybe there's just no market for it right now, per se.
You figure it like this, right? if global warming goes unchecked, they said that the Middle East will become so hot it will be uninhabitable by the end of the century, right?
Shit, I used to fucking be in the military. I've been over there. It's already uninhabitable.
So imagine in 80 years when global warming is just out of control. So if it comes...
I ain't gotta imagine. I'm talking about 2003. It's bad. I couldn't take it then. Get me the fuck out of here, Captain.
Yes. But backtracking, you know.
You're a black ass. You can take it. You're from Africa. No, I'm not.
It's like, I'm from Brooklyn, man. I ain't used to all this heat. But I'm
from Compton, man. We have air conditioning in all our buildings, nigga.
Now, see, if you're from Compton, man, put it like this, man. Some comedian had a joke. They said, you know what? There's so much gang violence in Compton because they don't know how to dress. Because you live in a desert.
Not true.
I'm just saying what the comedian said. They said, y'all live in a desert, and everybody got a flannel shirt buttoned all the way up to the top button.
Now, remember, our average temperature is around 80. It don't get hot like that over there.
Not like in the Middle East, so.
Oh, hell no. Not like shit, fucking Nevada.
Even Southern California was a Death Valley. It's always like, see, it's 95 degrees in the winter. Oh, I don't know about that, but
what winter? What are you talking about, dude?
There's no winter in Southern California.
When's the last? We got one drop of rain last year.
So, but going back to the subject, the whole thing with the electric cars, right? And basically China forcing car makers' hands. You know, I don't know how many cars we import to Germany and all that because they already make superior cars to American cars anyway. I mean, our BMWs here that are luxury cars are cabs and police cars in Germany. Okay, so it's basically they don't really need our cars. They got Volkswagen and they got BMW. I think they got. I'm not sure if they have Mercedes or not, but they don't need our cars. China, they need our cars. So if they're forcing their hand, it basically just proves that it's the consumer that drives everything. Because now these car companies have to change their entire game in order to accommodate 1/3 of their exports. So put it like this, right? Jumping off a quick segue, you have Bernie Sanders who introduced his Medicare for All bill, right? So basically in Bernie's bill, what would happen is if it were to pass, I know that's a big if, but if it were to pass, it would automatically help out. So like the upper age would go down to 55, and then it would be free for kids who are 18 and under, right? And then every year after that, it would go down a little bit more. So like the first year would be 55, then it'd be 45, 35, 25 to kind of ease into it. And he already had this whole thing about how it's going to be paid for, right? So for people like me and you, we see like a 2.2% increase in our taxes, right? But we would also have the freedom of not having to worry about medical expenses anymore. We don't have to pay co-pays. We don't have to pay for medication. You know, it would just be an amazing thing. So yes, it's going to cost $1 trillion a year. But
hold on. It ain't going to pass though. You know what? We love Bernie. Nobody in politics fucks with Bernie.
Well, so that's the thing. Check this out. When Bernie put that bill out in 2014, right, he had 0 co-sponsors. None. No co-sponsors in the House, no co-sponsors he's in the Senate, so we'll just say no co-sponsors in the Senate. Because I think there's a House version of that bill now that's getting some steam. But he had no co-sponsors at all in 2014. No one was even looking Bernie's way, right? Now he has 15 co-sponsors, and it's still growing. Granted, most of those co-sponsors are trying to run for president, but the fact of the matter is, the fact that they know that to get those votes, they have to support Medicare for all. That's a big thing. It's a big shift, and I think people are finally starting to realize that, hey, that dude with the seersucker suit and the I want a job haircut, I don't work for this motherfucker. They work for us. And if they don't do what we say, they can be replaced. You figure two senators who have, they're not senators. I take it back. They're two lawmakers from the House. Two lawmakers from the House who already said that they're not going to back Medicare for all publicly are already being primaried. As soon as they said, well, I'm not going to, next thing you know, bam, primary opponent who says that they will vote for Medicare for all. You figure right now there's a version of, they're having another Obamacare repeal and replace, and this one that they're doing now is the worst one yet. They're trying to push it through before the CBO can score it, right? And this one could actually pass because now Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski are on the fence. They don't know if they're going to vote for it or not, which means if they're saying, I don't know if I'm going to vote for it, that means that they're going to vote for it, and we're screwed. So you figure like this. If they pass that quote-unquote repeal and replace, it's just going to make people on both sides, Republican and Democrat, twice as desperate for single payer. So that tax break that they're going to get is going to be temporary, because any politician that doesn't go on either side of the aisle, who doesn't go single payer, their political career is over. But the problem is, you're going to see that more on the Democrat side. You're not going to see it on the Republican side because they don't hold their politicians to the feet to the fire unless they do something that helps people. Look at all the flack 45 got when he sided with Democrats on DACA. People were burning their Make America Great Again hats that they paid like $35 for, probably at the Sharper Image or wherever they got it from. They probably say if you buy some steak from the Sharper Image, we'll give you a free Make America Great Again hat. Or if you buy a Make America Great Again hat, they'll just give you like 8 pounds of hamburger. I don't know how it goes. But the fact of the matter is, whenever you do something good for somebody, Republicans go insane and call their politicians rhinos. Republicans in name only. Democrats and liberals hate on their politicians when they turn their backs on people. Like Cory Booker. Cory Booker's back in Medicare for all because he knows it'll get him votes. So the main thing is, when it comes down to it for a vote, is he going to vote for it? And he knows he's stuck now because he knows that if he doesn't vote for it now, he's as good as dead. His career is over. They're already looking at him like he's something to eat. So it's going to be a huge test. But the thing is, we need people on both sides to really, you figure Bernie went to Kentucky and he went to West Virginia and talked to people there directly. And that's where he's a better man than I am, because I'm just like, fuck Kentucky, fuck West Virginia. Right? Because these guys are Trump all the way. But here's the thing, and I was trying to verify this, right? At least on the Democrat side, I think every county in the Republican primary between Bernie and Hillary in West Virginia, I don't know if he won every county or almost every county, but he won West Virginia in a landslide. Talk about Bernie in the Democratic primary. In a landslide, because Bernie is for single-payer health care. And people in West Virginia need single-payer health care. So maybe all's not lost, because this is something that helps everybody. It doesn't matter whether I like you or not. You should still have health care, because health care should be a right for all citizens of the United States. That's just how I feel. But people are starting to realize, hey, we have the power now. And if you don't do what we want, you're as good as done. Nancy Pelosi is just about done. Dianne Feinstein is almost done. Chuck Schumer needs to be careful, because they're going to find out the hard way they can be replaced. So it's no longer, so the Bernie or bust movement is dead. There's no such thing as Bernie or bust anymore. It's single payer or bust. if you're not down with single payer, you may as well just cash in your 401k because you're done. You know, so. Do you have any thoughts on this, Blue? No thoughts? Okay. So, but
yeah, I do have some thoughts.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought I lost you there, buddy.
You wasn't supposed to say that. I'm not gonna edit that part out. No, I can't. Well, I guess I can. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Well, I guess I do have some thoughts. Cory Booker's a joke. I thought, he was going to be the next Obama at one time. I don't know what the fuck happened to him. I guess he got sidetracked by money, which happens at times, yes?
Yeah.
He'll never be great in my eyes. There's nothing he can do today. There's nothing he can do from here on out that'll make me respect him as a politician. Pelosi, I never trusted her. She looked as shady from jump. Humphreys, I don't know who the fuck that is, to be honest. I'm not so sure about Medicare for all. I just think they will have to rename it. Medicare has a nasty stigma behind the name. You know what I'm saying? It's almost something like you totally associate with poor, dingy people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, you talk about Medicaid.
Oh, old wrinkly people. My bad. Old wrinkly people. people.
You figure like this: when Medicare came out, right? It cut, and I don't want to tell lies on the numbers, but it really helped the elderly, and it helped lift a lot of elderly folks out of poverty. So, I mean, put it like this: if it wasn't for Medicare, after my mom's, she had 2 brain surgeries, mastectomy. She had cancer. It was really bad, and if it wasn't for Medicare, my father would be homeless because he would never be able to pay all those bills. So, and Medicare is actually the #1 social program in America. The #2 social program is Social Security. So Medicare is popular. Now, does Medicare have some issues? Yes. But Medicare is not horribly, it's extremely efficient. You remember when Obama made the 80-20 rule, right? The 80-20 rule was part of Obamacare, and it says that insurance companies had to spend 80% of their revenue on premiums, and then 20% on overhead. And if they spent more than 20% on overhead, they had to refund people. So people were getting back checks as much as like $1,000 from the insurance companies because they get audited and they were caught overcharging people, right? Medicare, they only spend 5% on revenue. So for every dollar that they take in, 95% of it goes into paying premiums, 5% goes into overhead. Whereas for regular insurance companies, they're taking 20% for overhead. So it's really, really efficient, and it's, and yeah, just like any other large-scale program that has its problems, that's why Bernie isn't planning on just dumping it all in at once. He's doing it in phases, so they could just do it comfortably. Now, the role of private insurance, no one gives a shit about private insurance. No one, unless you work for them or get a check from them, no one gives 2 squirts of piss about private insurance because private insurance has made people miserable for decades. So, yeah, I'm sorry all those people are about to lose their jobs, but other than that, fuck them. Because they make people miserable for profit. Not for no reason. I almost said for no reason, for profit. So, but put it like this, Blue. How many I know when it goes to a vote, it's gonna lose because Republicans control the House and the Senate. Do you think that Cory Booker will actually put his name on it, will actually vote for it, or do you think he'll sell out?
I think knowing what I know about him, he's gonna sell out. when I first discovered who he was, I thought he was the second coming of Obama. And now I see his true nature, the true nature of that of greed, that of lust for power, that of lust of money, and whatever he got to do to get there. It took the blacks to get him in there, but it's going to take him the whites to get to where he really wants to get. And that's that greed. You dig what I'm saying?
That's my back. Keep asking Blue questions. He ain't ready.
No doubt. But, you know, this is what we got to do. We got to get registered to vote, and we got to vote. You know what I'm saying? We got to vote.
Merc, you done?
Oh, no, I was waiting on you.
Waiting on to what? What are you waiting on? I'm confused. I got a lot of editing to do. Let's start all over. Where we at? What's the last thing you said?
No, I'd ask you a question. I asked you, do you think that when it comes to a vote, do you think that Cory Booker will actually vote on it, or do you think that he'll just sell out and just not vote on it?
What's Booker? Jersey? Where's Booker from?
Jersey.
Nah, I think he's too. What's that fat guy? What's the governor's name? What's his name? He look like fucking Boss Hog. What's his name?
You talking about Chris Christie?
Oh yeah. How close are those two?
Not very. They're not close at all.
Jersey is a mafia state. I mean, it's so ingrained in the mafia. I'm going to say he won't go because the profits lie in not being a single pay system and not being a Medicare for all system. It's the profits lie with having insurance companies charging outrageous premiums. Remember, politicians they might start off, hey, I'm here for the people, I'm here for you, woo! But it's funny. Money is a strange thing, brother. I got shit to say about it, but money is a strange thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. But I can just tell you, but before I let it go, 2018 is going to be a political bloodbath, and it's one of the few times where I'm glad I'm not a politician. It's going to be like, you know, being on a season of like the season finale of Game of Thrones. It's like, all right, who's going to get their head cut off? Who's going to get eviscerated? It's going to be a bloodbath. So, but that's all I had, Blue. You have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, but just for closing thoughts, get on Senate.gov, get on House.gov, you know, research your people, get their voting records. 2018 is a lot closer than you think. If you're not registered to vote, you still have plenty of time to register to vote. So let the people know that you have the power and exercise that power and make them do what we need them to do. So, and that's all I had.
And that concludes another episode of POLI-TRICKS with Mercer Prescott and his band of eclectic cronies. Make sure you subscribe to The Urban Breakdown via iTunes podcast, via Google Play's podcast, inside your Google Play app, or on your Alexa devices via iTunes, via the TuneIn app. That's The Urban Breakdown with current shows in rotation being POLI-TRICKS with Mercer Prescott and his band of eclectic cronies, and the 360 Degrees, which is basically a weekend review from various hosts telling it like it is and how it should be. And that's Merc, Odie, F. Khristopher, Charles, and Nation, as well as speaking guests from all around the nation. All right, stay tuned. All right.